is going on? It's DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. So today we're doing the youth whole youth music network event aftermath. So for those of you who may or may not be aware, through my new job, whole youth music network event, and it's just there to target to sort of give feedback about how we can make the music scene access like opportunities on how they can get involved up in the whole press keys on a keyboard. So we do like these monthly events, and I took part in the first one, but I wasn't into promoting it and sort of helping to run it a little bit more. Whereas as opposed to the first one, I just kind of more came down as a little bit of a guest. I was waiting to start my job. But the second one was already sort of like, getting promoted and getting sort of like planned as I came onto the job as well. So it was for me to promote for me to do to sort of jump in and follow on a bit. So and it kind of how to say it, but it kind of like did not go to plan. But then it kind of like in some sense it better that it didn't go to plan. So these events are hit and miss, and it's if you're interested, sort of come down kind of thing. So you never really know whether you're going to get many people to come to these events or not. It's always a little bit versatile on, are people going to come, aren't people going to come. And in all honesty, not many people came. It was a couple of people came. And sometimes, though, it only takes a couple of people to get a message across. And if you can, in some sense, sort of intrigue or interest even just as little as a couple of people, you still, in some sense, have completed a job, and it still can be an achievement. So we had this event at the Centre in Hull, which is located more or less like just next door to the St Stephen's shopping centre. It's sort of joint on with the Hull New Truck Theatre and all of them. And we set out to have a little event where guest speakers would speak up on stage about their sort of how they sort of got into the industry and how sort of got into music, and people could ask questions and give feedback. And like I say, that not many people really came to the event, which at first was a little bit like, oh, we might have to call it off. This might not really work too well. And then we decided that, well, we've got two people here, a couple of people that we've got. Let's pull up a table, table and some chairs, and let's all sit round the table and do the event that way, rather than sort of doing something sort of like big and sort of something up on the screen. So we sort of sat round the table, and the people that were booked here to speak, we all just sort of told our stories, and then we sort of fired back questions between one another. And in some sense, even though the whole sort of idea of going up on the stage and having an audience of people sat there listening didn't go to plan, I think in some instance this sort of how it actually ended up happening actually turned out in some ways to be better, because obviously, if you stood there on stage and you're just listening to someone's long sort of constant story of where they started, and as opposed to where they've got to, can be quite a sort of boring process. So the fact that we was all sat round the table, and you've got like artists that are obviously have come to the event to speak out, are speaking, and then people are just sort of chatting with them and asking them questions, it kind of kept the topics sort of like more interesting. So we went sort of like round the circle. So like the two rappers spoke, the Lane spoke, then I spoke, Cameo spoke first, and about sort of not midway through, but we just nicely got going, and a couple more people did actually come in. They came and sat down, and they came and sort of joined in and got sort of interested as well. So we had like a real small little group, but it felt like it was a productive session with the small with the small little group. And I think sometimes you can, if you think too big outside of the box, it won't always work. And sometimes just the little simple things can be good and effective. So the fact that there was maybe about, so obviously there's about 9 of us that sat round the table, and the fact that we all just sat round that table, I think it made it more interesting. I think the people that that have came sort of like come to the event, and they've actually learnt more, and they've found it more enjoyable being sat on this table, and going backwards and forth within a conversation. So that was like a really good thing. That was that was a buzzing thing. So yeah, so at first many people there, we thought like, ooh, what we're gonna do. And then I think we just sort of turned it around really. So I'd say it was a successful it was a successful night really. We all still spoke and gave our stories, but it was just like people could sort of, I guess in a way, like interrupt in the story and say, well, actually I quite like that what you've just said there, and and it just made it, in some sense, it made it actually quite good. So it did actually turn out quite well, and we got some people actually quite interested in what's sort of going on really. Um, so like I say, we do these monthly, so we'll be planning the next one sort of, from tomorrow really, just sort of thinking, well, look, what we're gonna base the next one on, and what we're gonna do, and do we want to go down that route of having it on a on a stage again? you know do we want to or do we want to keep it to sort of maybe like just sitting round the table kind of thing? Do you know what I mean? Do we keep it that way, or how do we go about doing it? But all I do know is that I think to say that today started off looking like it wasn't going to go down too well. And then for it to kind of like have this sudden turnaround and turn into something which was quite good, I think was just obviously quite a decent thing. And one thing that really did go wrong for us as well is we got to the venue about 5:30. Because that's when was told if you get down there for about 5:30, it gives you gives you good time to set up and stuff. So we did, and we get to the venue to realise that there's actually like a toddler's dance class on. Um, and they was dancing until 7, and we're starting at 7, so that wasn't so we're kind of sat around, oh, what do we do until 7? We wanted to get all the like the room set up and be ready, and then they put us up in this upstairs room where we could just sort of like get a few bits ready, but and there was a piano in there, so I was just playing on the piano, um, but anyway, the point being is it went from something that didn't sort of, if you sort of like picture it when it first started, it hit sort of, we just got set up, and then, really many people coming in, and a couple of people turn up, and that's about it, and you think, oh God, for it then to turn out into this almost like little positive conversation that we had, and everybody sort of speaking out about their experiences, backwards and forwards, and having a conversation, it just really made it good. And I just thought, what? I sat there and I thought, what? Things could have completely messed up tonight. We could have called it off. We could have said, well, it's not gone how we wanted it to go, so, we're going to have to call it off. Um, but the fact that we sort of changed it and turned it around and made it into something just made me think, you know what, I'm glad I'm in this job. I'm glad I'm doing what I do within this job because it was enjoyable. It still felt like we'd achieved something, and everything just kind of like went from good to bad, and then just sort of went back from bad to like really good again, which was just a really good thing. Um, but there you go. So I guess on the note of this topic, because I did say that I do a stream giving you an update about my new job. Now I've been in it about a month, so I've been in the job literally just in a couple of days. It will have like literally physically been like I started on the 23rd of August. It's nearly the 23rd of September, so we're the 20th. Do you know what I mean? It's a few days out. What's a few days between friends? So I said that I won't gonna do one every week because it's just work and it gets a bit boring after a while. But because it's a new job, I thought got to do one for your first week because it's your first week there, innit? And then I thought, well, you know what? Once you've been in the job a month, just give like a little update. Are you enjoying it? Because believe it or not, like 4 weeks is a lot can happen in 4 weeks. I mean, a lot can happen in a day, as today has proven. So I could have like come live in a month and said, you know what, I've jacked the job in. It's not for me. I could have gone there and said, you know what, it's just not how I thought it was gonna be. Do you know what I mean? So like, you never know. So it's good to do these updates, but just obviously don't do them too regular. But I've been in the job now about a month, and all I can really say is that I really enjoy it. It's one of them, where like I look forward on a night to going to bed and thinking like, you know what, there's a purpose to get up the next day and go to work. And I guess the best thing about it is like I'm working among things that I love. So I'm working among music, I'm working along technology, I'm working along media. I love doing things on computers. I love designing posters. I love doing anything musically wise. I love, just the thrill that tonight we put that event on, and it did go well. And it's just a buzz. So the fact that I can be in a job doing something that you love, and people will grind you down, and people will say, look, you're never going to do anything in music, so just sack it off, get a job at Tesco. But I do believe if you put your mind to it, that you really can get to that stage where you can do that one job that you love. And not everybody is built or designed to work in a shop or be a builder or be a plumber. Some people have like aspects of wanting to be something else. And if you look at people like like big DJs like Darren Styles and stuff, like they've done well, they've made it. They get well paid from money and from gigs, and they're well known within music. They've done well, and people think that like no one else can get to their level. They think like they're on that level and no one else can get to it, and it's impossible to even do well. And I just think you're completely wrong. Now, I was unemployed sort of for about 3 years, sort of like work experiences, and I did one job for about a week, and then they actually didn't want me back because they said I was struggling with the heavy lifting, which I'll be honest, I did find it a little bit sort of like heavy at times, but I wouldn't really say that I was unfit to do the job. And then I also did a weekend on a tip site, where I actually the working with was just a complete dick. He had a snooze on his job, and then blamed me for not doing some work that I didn't even know what I was supposed to do because I was new. He was supposed to. Do you know what I mean? Like sort of help me out and show me the ropes. And he just smoked rollies all day and slept in the office, and then had a go at me for not sweeping up, and then had a go at me for going over to people's cars to help them unload stuff, and don't just walk over to people's cars. And but the way he said it, like I'm new to the job, I didn't know what I was doing, so I've done a few bits and bobs, but sort of more or less since my family business closed in 2018, beginning of 2018. Um, More or less then was I've been sort of unemployed really since then. Until now, and like I say, I've tried and done different jobs, but I knew deep down that the music was where I wanted to push it. To not just, like I say, to be gigging sort of like, and living off gigging, but the fact now that I'm doing a job that does, that it involves music, it involves like media promotion, it involves getting young people involved in music. And it's just a great thing because I was a young person once trying to get involved in music, and I pushed it and pushed it. I haven't just sat on my ass and let people do it for me. I put the work in. I mean, the amount of MC videos that I used to put on this channel. You know, I remember at one point I was doing an MC on a Monday and then an MC on a Friday. And then I remember when the Facebook Lives came out. I was obviously I was doing I was doing the live streams on Facebook. I was going live. I was doing what was called me Friday Night Lives, and I'd go live and spit bars on the live. And then the Facebook Lives, obviously they progressed and they got more. People was using them more. They updated the features of them and made them better. And then obviously I started, doing more MC sessions. And the amount of times that I come on this channel and, like I announce where I'm playing, I announce what I'm doing. It may seem like, this guy just rambles for like an hour or 40 minutes, but, I'm promoting things, I'm pushing things, I'm trying to keep things, like consistent. And if you aren't doing that stuff, you aren't really gonna get somewhere. Like I know people that DJ, but they'll pull their decks out like once in a blue moon, and they'll put a mix up now and again, or they'll make some big posts like, I've got a massive passion for music, I'm going to return to it, I'm going to push it. And then they'll push it for about 2-3 weeks, and then they'll put a post up like, oh, I had enough of life, I had enough of this, I'm selling up and giving up. And people like them, they're not going to get nowhere. Or someone, like I say, who just goes live like once in a blue moon, and just does a little mix playing the same old classic hardcore tunes, is not going to get somewhere, as opposed to somebody who's out there, they're constant, they're live all the time, they're pushing music as well as the old music. They're pushing themselves, they're being consistent, they're sharing out, they're promoting their social medias, they're sending demos into promoters, they're entering competitions, they're doing everything they can to try and get somewhere. But then these people that pull the decks out like once in a blue moon don't push themselves. They get jealous of the people that are going somewhere, and they think like, well, how is this guy, because some of these people have DJ'd for years. They've done it for years and they've never really got too far with it, because they've always kind of just done it at the house party, done a few local gigs in the town, and that's about it. And then someone comes along who's maybe only just getting into DJing and only done it a couple of years or a year and a half, and they start smashing it, and they start, and and then these jealous people think, well, how has this person got here? How has this person got on that flyer when I've been going since '97? Or I started DJing vinyl back in 2002. How come this person's getting booked here when he's only been spinning on his little controller for about 8 months? But if you've got a likable character, you're putting the work in, you're putting the effort in, you will get somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So, like I say, people will grind you down and tell you that you can't get there. But the truth is, like, if you really try and you really want to get somewhere and you put the effort in, you can get somewhere. But people aren't just going to do it for you. If you're putting the effort in yourself, people will help you along the way, and people will give you a boost and share your stuff. And if you can get in there, like I got, good friends with a layman, and he's helped me massively. We've done tunes together. He's got me a few bookings along the way. I've got him some bookings. And we've sort of travelled on a journey together, which is a good thing. And if you can do that, definitely do it. Because it it really helps. But like I say, I'm in a job now. It's music related. It's media related. It's fun. It's enjoy. I wake up in the morning and I think, you know what, I want to go to work. You know, I want to go to work. I'm excited about work. You know, I'm excited. I'm not getting up and thinking, you know, I don't want to go, but I've got to do it because I need to do it. You know, I'm wanting to do it. And that's where the difference is. There's so many people that are out there who have just took a 9 to 5 job because they think, oh, can't get anywhere doing something else. You know, and I need to do it because it pays the money. And yeah, it does pay the money, definitely by all means. But never give up on what you really want to do, and you know, push for what you really want to do. You might have to go through a little bit of you know, a little bit of shit to get there. Like for me, it's sort of like being on the door, like, you know, sort of I've wanted to sort of choose a specific job that I know I'm gonna like. So there's been times where you have sort of thought, well, you know, we'll just go for that Tesco one because it'll get you working and it'll get you longer. But you know, when you just know deep down inside that, you know, if you push yourself and you better yourself, that you can get something, you know, within something that you want. And even if it's maybe, you know, just doing something that you really want to do, like temporary, it can still maybe like open the doors to get your foot into like other things that are maybe related to the same thing. So like my Goodwin job, it is a contract, and the contract is due to run out at the end of December. They said, you know, if there was the funding and if everything goes well, they would like to keep me on. But there is, you know, a good chance that sort of at December they'll be, you know, they won't be able to keep me on, the contract till end. But you know, within sort of from now till December, you don't know what contacts you'll make, or you might get your foot in the door somewhere else. Or you might be able to, you know, say, well, look, do you want to come and do this, you know, here, you know, sort of instead, you know, and you never know where things go. So, you know, take every opportunity, you know, and grace it, because like you say, it can work. And I never thought years back that, you know, I'd be, you know, doing a job where I'm doing something music related. You know, I thought, you know, the only ever job I could ever sort of like think I'd ever do music related is be a music teacher at school. But you know, I never thought I'd ever be in a job where I'm sort of like pushing music and promoting events, and you know, and where I'm, you know, doing other media things as well. I thought like what everyone else told you, that, you know, that 9 to 5, you know, sort of like shop job or supermarket job or them night shift factory jobs are the only way. You know, they're, you know, that's a real job. You know, the music's pretend, it's fantasy, but the truth is it's not. If these other people can make it, so can you. And these other people that have made it, they haven't sat there and done nothing. They put the graft in. You know, back in the early 90s, when, you know, before some of us were born, they're grinding and putting the graft in, to get where they are now. And it takes years. It takes years. And it may think like, you know, you go to this gig and you don't get paid for it, and you're not really getting anything out of it, and you think, well, why have you just risked all that to go there? But it's all, you know, it's networking, it's putting your name out. I mean, I'm wondering like how many times, you know, like the likes of Darren Styles would have probably maybe played something for free, or gone somewhere just to give himself the exposure, to get himself out there, to be in that position now where he's what he charges for a set. So you know, it might take me 10, 15, 20 years, but maybe in that time, you know, in, you know, that year's time, you know, in 20, 15 years time, maybe I can be asking for something like that, who knows. But you've got to put the graft in, and if you aren't pushing and getting your name out there, people aren't gonna want to pay for you. And again, you know, another hard thing is there is a lot of people that will just keep doing it for free and doing it for free, just, you know, so they can get out there, and that will affect you as well if you are sort of tackling this from a point where you do want to get money out of it, or you do want to do something sort of like money related, you know, because people will, if they can get someone for free, why get you? So it was like, I got asked about a gig a couple of weeks ago, and they asked, what's my charge, and I worked it out. I've told you this on a stream before. And I worked it out, and they said it was a little bit too much, but I said, look, I'm happy to drop just a little bit. But the truth is, someone else from Hull got put on that flyer, and the truth is that they did it for free. And I know the person, and I know the person can DJ as well. So the truth of it is, and the point of it is why pay me when I'm coming from the same place, the same distance to do the same thing, when this other guy who's coming from the same place, the same distance to do the same thing, will do it for free. You know what I mean? You've just got yourself a DJ there that you don't need to pay for. And this is where people like myself, who want to value myself, I want to value myself, and I want to get paid and recognised for what I'm doing. But when there's people out there that are just so desperate to get out there and get in somewhere, that they'll just skint themselves to do it. They'll pay, however much a hotel costs, and fuel, and then food and drink, just to have their name on a flyer, and just to do a set in a club. And it's all right of doing that at first to get your name out there, but then you have got to start thinking, right, I've done this for long enough. When do I start adding value to myself? When do I start thinking, right, I've got a talent, I've got a skill here, I'm travelling miles, I'm paying this, I'm paying that to play for an hour, I should be getting something for it. But the truth is not a lot of people don't think like that. And because they don't think like that, promoters for like small events are using it to their advantage. They can get that person because they'll know he'll play for free. They can book that girl because she'll do it for nothing. Because she just wants the exposure. And then the people that are asking for it, well, this person will do it for free, and they're just going to basically play what you're going to play. And to be fair, they are good. And, there is people that are really, really good DJs and have a skill, but, they will do it for free. So people like me that want to ask for something, like I say, why would you? I mean, look at it from a promoter's point of view. You've got somebody from Hull who's asking for this X amount to come, and then you've got someone from Hull that's going to do the same thing, who's just going to say, look, you don't have to pay me a penny, I'm just buzzed to be a part of something. You're going to take the free person, aren't you? Because for one, it's going to keep the cost down, a little bit more on your night. It's something less that you don't have to fork out for. It's another DJ on your lineup. It's another someone who's helping your night essentially, and it's not costing you. But like I say, it comes to a point where the promoter will use it to their advantage, and they'll tell other promoters, "Oh, this guy's free. He'll do it for free. Every time I book him, I've had him for free. He don't charge." And then other promoters, they'll expect that you'll do it for free. And then the daft thing is that you will, and then you don't put your foot down and say, "Well, actually, I'm charging X amount now. I've gone round, for free enough." So now I am starting to try and, even if it's just like petrol money and stuff, but it's really hard. And I get like family members asking, like, you need to start doing this and you need to start doing that. And I think, deep down, I really want to, I wish I could. I wish I could turn up to a booking and play for an hour and, bring home 500 quid. But, the way the scene works and the way the music works, it sadly just doesn't go in favour because people don't value themselves. Too many people will play for free, so the promoters use it to their advantage, of being able to to get that guy for free. And then so some people have DJ'd for 2, 3, 4 years and they've never had a paid booking. And this is the sad thing really, because there's people out there that are actually good, and they should earn from it. They do a lot of gigs and they get put on a lot of flyers and they go here, there, and everywhere. And you do think like they should get something for this because they've got a talent, and some people are doing well, and some people have got a good talent and they're getting well liked by people. They're live online, and people are locking in to see them, and they've got a good sort of like support from people in different towns, and people telling them they're smashing it, and they should get something for it. But I just don't, I just think some of them just don't know sort of like when is the right time to start asking. Are you going to lose bookings by asking? And the truth is you will lose some along the way. But if you've got a good following, you're doing well for yourself. Some people will want you that badly, that they will come back and say, "Look, we'll pay you for it." Because I've had it before. I did have one guy who booked me for something, and he said, would I play this? And I'm like, "Look, I'm gonna charge X amount," and it wasn't much because it was just in Hull as well. And at first he was like, "Oh, I'm not, we're not really, paying." It was just a bit of a free thing, really. So I was kind of like, yeah, sorry, I ain't really gonna, I'm not really gonna do it, to be honest. It's. And then he actually come back to me, maybe about a week and a half later, and said, look, do you still want to do this thing? We'll give you a bit of cash for it. So if people do want you that badly, good enough following, or there's something that they like about you that much that they think, we've got to have this guy down, we've got to have him playing, then they will charge. But X amount of people, like if you're just playing an hardcore set or you're playing a bounce set, like what are you, they in their minds, what are you going to do so differently between each other? You're going to mix donk. If you can mix good and in time, you'll be good for the night. And people don't always think about the technical side of it, putting a set together, the right moment, the right tune. Some people just think if you can mix, if you can beat match, and you can play a good set, then you do all right. And this is where again, people will choose the free people. Whereas sometimes, like the likes of say booking me, maybe paying for me, is that I will actually go through my sets. I will try and put something together. Sometimes I do just sort of play off the, wing it on the day. But 9 times out of 10, I'll put something together. I'll try and make it different and interesting. I'll try and do some double drops. I'll try and sometimes mix. Bring a tune in at a point where you maybe wouldn't expect it to come in. Like I say, double drops. I'll try and mash up and stuff like that. I'll try and make something a little bit more interesting. I like my sets to be different. So not just one continuous sound all the way through. I like to add like dubstep noises and break beats in the elements of my sets. I like to go in some like rolling bass drops and some like EDM drops as well, as opposed to just the same sort of like UK bounce or UK hardcore drops. I like something to come in a little bit heavy, and then something to come in a little bit twisted, and something to come in a little bit funky. I like a bit of everything in a set. So I will 9 times out of 10. I'll sit there and I'll knock something together. Like when I did Bounce to Your Drop a couple of weeks back, I came up with the idea of doing a 90s themed set. So every tune was a remix of a 90s. Because I'm actually going to bring out a mix series called basically. I'm like so the first one is going to be Donkin the 90s, and then I'm going to do like Donkin trance and Donkin house, and everything is going to be kind of like a remix of like a Pacific genre. So like Donk in the 90s is like going to be all the 90s tunes, or at least 90s tunes I can find. And it's going to be all it's going to be all like the bounce remixes of 90s. And then when I do the trance one, it's going to be trance remixes of bounce remixes of trance tunes. So like like say a bounce remix of Heart of Asia, for example. And if that makes sense. And then same with house. It'll be like a bounce remix of say like Joey Negro, Make a Move on Me. The Soul Searchers, Just Can't Get Enough. That is a 90s song as well. But when I do my 90s, I do want to sort of focus it more upon sort of like Living Joy Dreamer, the Altia Brothers, Bizarre Inc., sort of a bit more sort of like the commercial sort of side of tunes really. Again, like, you know, Real McCoy, Mr. Vane, you know, them kind of things really is kind of where I'm sort of like wanting to go with that. So, you know, the house one will tackle more like the underground house tunes, and some of like the sort of like early to late 2000s, you know, sort of house tracks really, which will be quite good. And then we'll do some other ones as well. So it'll be like happy hardcore tackle, or you know, like it'll tackle like you know, all bounce remixes of hardcore tunes, you know, so such as like, you know, Heart of Gold, Pretty Green Eyes, um you know, like Rainbow Island, you know, all them kind of stuff, like a Rainbow, you know, Shine Night in Shining Armor, so you know, remixes of, you know, like Dougal and Gamma tracks and stuff. So, yeah. But anyway, so like I say, the event went well. Everything went well really. Apart from we didn't think it was gonna go well at first, but turned out to go well. Turned out to work out well. I was quite pleased with it, and when I go back to the office tomorrow and they're like, you know, how did the event go? And I'll be like, do you know what? It didn't go how we planned it to go, and at first we was a little bit like, you know, it's gone to pot here, but you know what? It actually worked out really well. So I'm quite pleased. And I do like sort of the way tonight went, as to use it maybe as kind of like a little bit of a maybe like feature for the future. Um, so anyway, I'm going to cut off this stream now. I'm actually getting a little bit tired. It's been quite a long day, to be honest. I had to sign on, and then I had to get down to the music centre, and I had to take like cameras and tripods, and you know, it's just been sort of like one of them sort of like days where, you know, it's been on your mind a lot as well, like what you have to do, and you know what time you're doing things, and like I say, I mean, my original work shift finishes at 3 o'clock, and then I had like an hour to kill before I had to sign on. But by the time you walk home, like you would, you know, you'd more or less have to more or less just set off walking back again, you know, to go and sign on. And then we had to be at the music centre for 5:30. So then, you know, and I had to go back to the office and pick the tripods and the cameras up. So, you know, if I'd have thought, oh, I'll walk home, by the time you've got walked home, you're gonna be sat at home about 10 minutes, you know, and then you got to think, well, I'm better start setting off, you know, to you know, walk it again, because you know the walk is a good sort of like 10-15 minutes. So, um, you know, it was just one of them where I thought, well, there's no point going home, you know, because I'm only going to more or less get here and then I have to walk back again, but you know, sort of staying in that area, sort of, you know, what kill a bit of time really. It was just that sort of like hour really, you know, from sort of like my actual work shift finishing the normal day shift, you know, to having to go and sign on. And especially when, like, you know, you sign on and see the guy for about 2 minutes, and then, you know, because you've got nothing to report, nothing's gone wrong, nothing's gone right, you know. But unfortunately, they have to keep seeing me for the moment. And I think when they see me next time, I'll have had my first, you know, me first pay packet from work. So, once they see that, and you know, they can actually sign me off, then I won't need to go. But because they haven't been able to see proof of me first wage being paid in, because I've, you know, I had it yet. It's a monthly pay. I get it tomorrow actually, believe it or not. So I was just a day out, and he wasn't able to sign me off. So I've got to see him again in about 2 weeks. Hopefully he'll be able to sign me off this time, and I won't have to go and see him. Not that I don't like seeing him, because he's actually a nice person. He's one of the nicest work coaches that I've ever had, actually. And he's like the third one I've had, third, fourth one. So there we go. But anyway, make sure to like, comment, share. We'll see you next time.